Some moments arrive quietly, yet carry the weight of a lifetime. This was one of them. A young man stood at a crossroads no one else could see, exhausted by thoughts that never slept and the pain he never shared. One choice, made in silence, could have ended everything he loved, everything he was meant to become. Have you ever been so tired of fighting that giving up felt like rest? What happened next was simple, almost ordinary, but the advice he heard that night would save his life forever and completely. From the outside, his life looked ordinary, even stable. He woke up, went to work, exchanged polite smiles, and he answered questions with practiced ease. No one saw the weight he carried home each night, the expectations he felt he had failed, the dreams that seemed to slip further away with every passing year. His laughter was real enough, but it was borrowed, not born from peace. Inside, doubt grew heavier, settling into his chest like a stone. He told himself it was temporary, that he could handle it alone. But pressure doesn't announce when it's about to break you. It simply builds, quietly, until one moment becomes too much. At night, his mind became the loudest place he knew. Thoughts circled without mercy, every mistake replayed, every what if whispered like a verdict. He wondered how others moved forward so easily while he felt stuck in the same place, carrying the same shame. The silence of his room only made the noise inside him stronger. Maybe I'm the problem, he thought. Maybe always was. Each breath felt heavier than the last, as if the future itself were pressing down on his chest. He searched for exits in his thoughts but found only walls. What frightened him most wasn't the pain, it was how normal the idea of disappearing began to feel. What happened next would decide whether he saw another sunrise or became another story no one truly understood. His father noticed before anyone else did, not through words or confessions, but through the silence that lingered too long. That evening, he sat beside his son without questions or urgency, just a steady presence in the room. There was no more lecture, no more raised voice, no more attempt to fix everything at once. Instead, his father waited, allowing the air to soften, allowing the moment to breathe. Then he spoke slowly, as if choosing each word with care, knowing they would land where nothing else could reach. The son barely looked up, unaware that this calm voice was about to interrupt the storm inside him. The advice would not sound dramatic or wise at first, but it would quietly change everything. His father didn't tell him to be strong. He didn't dismiss the pain or rush toward solutions. He simply sighed, "Before you decide anything, pause with me for a moment." They sat in silence, breathing slowly, until the tension eased just enough to think clearly. Then his father spoke again. "Pain lies to us when it stays too long," he sighed gently. "It tells us this moment is forever, but it isn't." He reminded him that feelings rise and fall, but choices can echo for a lifetime. "You don't have to solve your whole life tonight," he added. "You only have to stay." Those words carried no more pressure, only permission to breathe, to wait, and to remember that being alive was already an act of courage. Nothing around him suddenly changed. His problems were still there, waiting patiently for morning. But something inside him loosened. The weight in his chest softened just enough to breathe again. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't racing ahead or falling backward, he was simply present. He realized he didn't need all the answers tonight. He only needed to make one decision. And in that quiet moment, he chose to stay. He chose to live, not because everything felt hopeful, but because it felt possible again. Sometimes survival begins by pausing and listening to someone who cares. If this story resonated, reflect below, share it forward, and stay connected for more wisdom and hope. Together always. Moral: not every painful moment needs an immediate solution. Sometimes what saves us is patience, presence, and one steady voice reminding us that today is not the end of the story. Actionable takeaway: before making any life-changing decision, pause, breathe, reach out to someone who cares. One honest conversation, at the right moment, can save a life.